He's one of the biggest hunks to be gracing the silver screen at the moment, but you might also know him as the tough guy Jackson in the hit TV show Sons of Anarchy, which lasted for several seasons. Of course, we're talking about Charlie Hunnam.
Sons of Anarchy helped me in every role that I play because that was really my education. Like, I went into Sons of Anarchy not really knowing how to put a performance together, and then after 7 years of having to create arcs every week for 13 episodes every year over the course of 7 years, I got so much experience that I felt like that was sort of like my university degree, was that show.
You might not expect it if you've watched Sons of Anarchy and some of the movies he's acted in, but you may have heard it just now. Mr. Hunnam is actually a British bloke. Apparently, Charlie's American accent is so convincing that even his fellow countrymen don't believe he's actually from England.
I checked into a hotel in England and they had to get the manager because I didn't have my passport with me and they didn't believe I was British, and you can't check into a hotel in Britain unless you're English without giving you your passport number. I said, I don't know what to do, man. Like, this is where my reservation is. Like, this is where I'm staying. I'm English. I don't know what to tell you. And I never do this type of stuff. It was so embarrassing. I was like, bro, could you just like Google me? And they said, why? I said, well, I'm an actor and you're gonna see my picture and see that I'm English and you can just let me have my hotel room then. So they Googled me and they're like, oh yeah, you're British.
All jokes aside, we should actually be really glad that Charlie chose to become an actor. Not only because we get to enjoy his work, but also because his life would probably have turned out very differently.
I grew up in a very economically and socially depressed area. I see film as something that's really important to me because in my life that's lacking a lot. Film is somewhere where I can have access to all that beauty and poetry and big ideas and all of that kind of stuff, so it's really important to me. So I decided that is going to be my escape from like existential crisis and a very dreary way to spend my time. Now, had I not found that affinity for film, I 100% would have been a gangster.
And that is actually how a lot of his family did end up.
My father is a career-long gangster, 35 years, never made a legitimate dollar in his life. You know, I have my cousins, like I'm telling you, and I know it sounds funny sitting in the Beverly Hills Hotel in the Four Seasons, but I'm just telling you straight, 100% I would have been a gangster if I wasn't an actor.
Well, that just makes us appreciate his films even more. Charlie goes to great lengths for his roles, like when he had to bulk up to play King Arthur in the 2017 film of the same name, although he doesn't see that as so much of a challenge himself.
I mean, I gotta say, like, in tackling a role and bringing something to screen, it's really the mental, emotional, spiritual life of a character that's much more challenging for me. I'm lucky that I'm quite a physical person and my body responds quite quickly, so I had to put on a bunch of weight and get, you know, muscly for the film, but that wasn't particularly by comparison with the other challenges of this film, I didn't find that particularly challenging.
Losing the weight again, however, turned out to be harder. For the film Papillon, in which he plays a prisoner detained on a remote island, things got pretty extreme.
My body didn't want to do it this time. Like, so much more difficult to lose the weight this time. I don't know why. I did everything exactly the same, but my body didn't want to do it. And so by the end of it, for the last 10 days, I didn't eat at all. I just didn't eat for 10 days. Didn't drink any water, and I didn't leave the prison. Like, things got a bit weird at the end of this, I gotta say, but it was, you know, it was an interesting experience, so, you know.
Well, that's true dedication right there. The fact that Charlie Hunnam chose to become an actor has more benefits than he might have thought of. He might have been a criminal otherwise. He takes extreme measures to deliver us the best performances, and last but certainly not least, it also doesn't hurt to see his pretty face on the big screen. We'd say that's a win-win-win.